colleague's comments, but you know, he's talking about wasting money. That's what we're talking about, Mr. Speaker. It's not just the 10%ers. We could also fix a lot of his other party's problems in terms of wasteful spending on contracts, on travel, and everything else that they do. But I don't think there is a Canadian out there who wouldn't say that if they knew about this, if they knew the cost of this, if Canadians in my riding or in Burlington knew what was being spent, if he had a town hall in his riding and said, should we send this crap out to the people of Canada on your ticket, on your dime, I don't think there's a Canadian out there who would say that that's a good use of taxpayer money. If he wants to save taxpayers' money, start today. Stand up and vote tomorrow night for this motion this afternoon.
Questions and comments? The Honourable Member for Elmwood-Transcona.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I indicated before, I get probably as many of these as anybody else in this House. And mine are always from one party. The only party that sends me anything is the Conservative Party. And there's piles of these things, and I don't let it bother me, and I keep winning. And I intend to keep winning in spite of them. I don't think a lot of people read these things after a while. But interestingly enough, I got one a month ago, and it wasn't from the Conservatives at all. It was from the leader of the Liberal Party. Maybe it was an accidental mailing. It was meant for St. Boniface and kind of got accidentally put into my writing. But I listened this morning to the member for Winnipeg South Centre bring up this issue, and I got to admit, she gets more of this than anybody else in Manitoba. The Conservatives have been chasing her now for several elections. And guess what? She's still here. She beats them. These things can work against you. If you do negative advertising against a member on a consistent and constant basis, I will tell you it's going to work against you. And that member is proof positive, that member for Winnipeg South Centre, that she wins in spite of all this negative advertising.
The Honourable Member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Well, my colleague from the NDP proves my very point, that Canadians don't like these things, they don't react well to them. But you can't say that because people still vote for somebody who's targeted, that that's a good use of money. That's a ridiculous use of money. And if anybody wants to see if these are political, find out where the parties send these mailings. I don't think they come into my riding from the Conservative Party, who are not going to win in Dartmouth Cole Harbour for some time to come. I do get them from the NDP, and I'm sure all parties target these to the areas that they want to win. That is political abuse of taxpayers' money. That is partisan political abuse of public money, and it's got to stop sometime. And I'll tell you, Mr. Speaker, it will stop. This may not pass today or tomorrow, but it will stop, just like in Nova Scotia. You know, as soon as the light was shone on some of this stuff, it stopped, and it'll stop eventually here because it's the wrong thing to be doing.
Enough time for a very brief question or comment. The Honourable Member for Mississauga South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following on the 10%ers, these 10% out-of-riding 10%ers also include a request for feedback about which leader do you think is on the right track, and also send us your email address, which all of a sudden this becomes a political instrument. I think the problem I have, and many people have with this, is that Parliament money is being used by political parties for partisan use. And I wonder if the member would care to comment.
The Honourable Member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Well, you know, there's no question about that, Mr. Speaker. I was just looking for a note. I received an email on Friday to this very issue saying that they had received a flyer, they hated it, and they said, look, it's wrong. Who's paying for it? I assume the public is. She was right. What she said is, at the very least, it should be paid for by political parties. It shouldn't be funded from the budget of Parliament. It is totally and completely political. The information is quite often wrong. We heard that from the member from Mount Royal. But at the very least, it shouldn't be used to subsidize political operations, and that's what happens with these flyers.
Resuming debate, the Honourable Member for Ajax.